All right, all right, all right. We are now live. I'm going to go ahead and play some background music here, if that's okay. Oh, we start the stream. Okay, awesome. Would you like us to put another image across the screen as we wait, or would you like to get straight into it?
Like image, like what kind of image? What do you mean?
Like a Global Hack Week, Beginners Week image, or would you just like to go straight into
Yeah,
it?
like we can do some kind of like just placeholder for a couple of seconds, minutes. I don't know, like just for folks to have time to join, just because I don't want to rush it, because like it's like weekend, and also like like it's like usually good to have like some kind of like time frame for people to join. So
yeah. All right, perfect. I'll go ahead and add that.
Nice.
Hello, 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 everyone. Welcome to Global Hack Week Beginners. Today we have an awesome stream coming up with Vadim over how to use a custom rich text editor and getting started with Angular using CKEditor. So everything's excited. How are you doing, Vadim?
Doing great as always, and especially like 2 days in a row with the MLH community. That's awesome. Like it's like no reason to complain. Like it's awesome people, awesome vibes, and just like great time in general. So all good. Appreciate they having me in general, and I already see like a lot of people are joining, so even better.
Yeah, I see Abhinav in chat. Hello, how's it going? I also see Shema Boris. I see he's a return viewer. I also see Aryan. Nice to meet y'all. Well, we have a lot in store today for part 2 of using CKEditor, and I'm really, really excited. Also, Shivam Ramola. Nice to meet y'all. All right, I guess, do you want to do introductions?
Yes. Well, I mean, usually like sorry, I'm terrible at being prepared. I just improvise because it's more natural. So, like, if something feels awkward, that's because it is. However, yeah, I would like to introduce myself. My name is Vadim, as it was mentioned already. Like, yeah, I work at a company called CKEditor as a developer advocate. So, my primary focus is content for you folks, like actually doing live streams, doing pre-recorded videos, articles, demos, and stuff like that. So you get resources that help you to feel confident in your work and learn cool new stuff. So it's great job, really fun job. Like sometimes doesn't even feel like job because like I just like do fun stuff and it just like no like like no routine and no like annoying vibes. So really enjoyed that, and this is why I'm doing this right now. Yeah, besides that, I am based in Poland, in Gdańsk, nearby the shoreline, so pretty calm, cute
Ooh.
area. Like like Amsterdam simulator, a lot of similarities in terms of architecture, so like it's pretty cool. Yes, and you can find me as VS Codes, as like single word on Discord, and underscore VS Codes on Twitter, and by my full name on as you can see on LinkedIn. So yeah, feel free to connect, always up for that.
That's a snazzy name, VS Codes. That's
Yeah, I mean, like it's from the SEO perspective. I was so like so happy when I realized like, ooh, that's like that's a good one. It's such like just one letter. What is different from the code editor?
yeah. That is a very rare username.
Yeah, and
But
it's a
yeah,
good like it's a good domain name for a personal website as well.
yeah, it is. That is very, very cool. And I'm Ryan. I'm going to be moderating the stream today. I am the third Ryan from Major League Hacking, and yeah, I'm excited to be here today. All right, do you want to go ahead and get into the stream?
Yes, I think we're good. A lot of folks, yeah, like we have enough folks. And if somebody's late, that's fine because it's pre-recorded, so they will have an opportunity to join later and just or watch like a completely recorded session on YouTube. So yes, I'm ready to go. So I will start by sharing my screen.
While we do that, also want to shout out Anushka for saying that VS Codes is a fire name. It is a
I
fire
appreciate
name.
that. I really appreciate that. Okay, so my screen sharing should be ready soon, right? Ryan?
Yep.
Oh,
And there we
okay,
go.
cool.
All right. Good luck.
Thank you. Okay, so as I mentioned, I work at a company called CKEditor, and actually before we go any further, I would like to ask the chat, how many of you folks were here yesterday at my first workshop? Because like there will be a lot of similarities. So like if you are if you listen for the first workshop, I would like to know that because this will help me to understand how deep I need to go for like some background knowledge, some prep knowledge, or you will be able, some folks in the chat will be able to help me out and kind of like answer some questions on how to get this or that to get folks to the point when they have a functional setup. So let me know in the chat if you were here. If not, that's totally fine. No pressure. I will just give like a small introduction before that, before we go into actual coding and understanding Angular a little bit better. So far, nobody. Oh, I was there. Okay, so we have some folks. I was not. Okay. That's good to know. Okay, so some folks were here, so never mind. We'll just do a proper introduction just to kind of, get us to the point where we're all feeling like we're on the same page. So all good. So yeah, as I said, I work at a company called CKEditor. It's a rich text editor or WYSIWYG editor. What you see is what you get kind of thing. So really important product for many use cases. It's difficult to kind of say like the primary one because like a lot of like you can see a lot of clients that use it in a different way, like and like different use cases in different apps. So there is no like unified like CKEditor is for this. CKEditor is a rich text editor. This is like the only short explanation that I can help you with. However, during the actual coding and like demonstration of the project and like what we will build, you will understand some use cases and how you can actually benefit from it. So you can, this is actually our website, and I will share the link in the chat. with Ryan so he can share it with you folks. I'm sorry, I'm terrible at multitasking. And while I tap, yes, good. Okay, thank you. So this is the link to the website. You can go and explore the website itself because we have a bunch of stuff there. So you can see we have like the dedicated page with features, so you can actually explore like everything within the ecosystem. You can go to the demos page. This is the place where you can actually kind of, like try different use cases and try different setups that are already pre-built and predefined for you by us. So it's like it's all well crafted and we're confident that it's functioning. So like it's a good way to get started to understand like, oh, that's what it's for. So you can try this out. And obviously we have like a lot of content at the bottom. You can find our socials, blog, and stuff like that. So go out and explore that. Also, I would like to point out that our documentation is the main source of truth in terms of like how to configure stuff. So this is one thing that I would love to share as well. Just for you folks to always reference it, not some kind of, like resources that could be found online, because like those might be outdated and we do not really take responsibility if something was found like on Stack Overflow or something, just because like it's we usually like pay a lot of attention to the documentation and we try our best to make it actually useful. So yeah, we're lucky to have like a good team of a lot of people, and a lot of like folks work on the documentation specifically, so it's a good one. Go explore it. It has a lot of like guides for different stacks, and it's a good one. So yeah, go try it out, go read it, and it will help you in your CKEditor journey. However, don't hesitate to tell us if something is confusing or something is not helpful. If you don't feel like like it's clear enough, or something is misleading, or you just confused, but because like you don't know some kind of specific terminology, let us know, because sometimes when we work too much on it, we lose the sense of being like someone who is not familiar with the product. So your feedback is always appreciated. Okay, so let's get to the point of the actual content, and this is where the builder. We introduced Builder yesterday, as some folks already know, because they were already here on the first workshop. However, for those who did not join the first workshop, I would like to do a quick intro of Builder, what it is, why it exists, and why it's a cool piece of technological piece of software. So some products, like, I don't know, like if you tried a lot of like third-party open source products within the web dev ecosystem, like React, Angular, or just whatever else, you know that sometimes it's tedious. Like sometimes it's not straightforward. Sometimes it's like very confusing, and especially if this is like an early stage startup and they don't have time and people who can work on a good quality documentation, sometimes you're just left alone, and it's really, really frustrating for you because you don't know how to configure some kind of project. Even if it's you need it, you realize the importance of this project, but you're just hitting the glass ceiling. You're just feeling like, I don't know how to configure it. It's so confusing. It's not straightforward, and it's not simple. And this is why we created Builder in the first place, because Builder helps you to get to the point of having the starter project, the starter setup, with the visual feedback all the time, and you don't have to code it manually. You get the output immediately. So let me show that. So first step of the Builder, and it's, yes, the link is there in the chat. Really appreciate that. So there are 4 steps for the Builder. The first one is the selection of the preset. Presets are really helpful, especially if you're not familiar with CKEditor, because you might be confused on how to identify the specific features you need. And also, you might just don't know which feature exists within CKEditor's ecosystem, and it's normal. So presets can already kind of give you feedback like, oh, okay, these are the type of things I can get with CKEditor. These are the type of things that are available, and different setups, like with a smaller or more extensive set of more extensive like featured list. Like you can actually like understand it from actual demo, not just from reading the documentation, which is a lot more interactive and a lot more easy to understand. And also keep in mind that this is not a static image, or not just like static HTML code. This is actually interactable editor, so you can actually start messing with it, and you can start understanding like, oh, okay, these features are for this and that, and we can actually identify the features that we need. So we go with the classic editor. This is more than enough for our demo, because we don't want to make it over complex, like over confusing. And here the next step is the features list. Oh, and hi, that's Pep, if I remember your how to pronounce it correctly. You were here yesterday, and you're awesome. I'm happy to see you again. So the second step is about features. So basically, you can see that some features are already pre-selected because we selected a preset. So basically, that enabled a set of features that are relevant for a specific preset. But it doesn't mean that we're limited to the specific set, and you can also enable different features if you feel so. Like right now, you can see that I enable AI, and already it's available in my editor. However, if at some point of time I realize meh, I don't need that, you can just disable it and you're good. So, and also really important mention that we have a full set of features for the real-time collaboration. So it's not only for your pet project, for something trivial or something simple. You can actually have a real Google Docs clone or whatever else with real-time collaboration, which in many cases is very useful. So definitely go explore the whole featured list, and you can start by typing something in the search bar that will help you to kind of filter out the relevant or irrelevant results. Okay. So we, as we agreed, we go with the classic editor. We don't add any additional features, and we just select the next step, which is the toolbar customization. And here we don't do much because we already it looks fine. It's something we can work with, but you're able to modify that and customize the behavior. For example, you can add a menu bar to have additional things for you to work with, and additional options of customization if needed. However, I will disable it for now. You can also enable balloon toolbar, which is relevant for the selected line of text or specific piece of text. However, yeah, for the demo, I don't want to add a lot of features because it will basically bloat the code, and I don't want that. So let's keep it simple and keep it just wrapped. Wrapped is a very important one because as you can see, all of the features are on the single line. And let's actually go back to this step and add some kind of extra features. And you can see if we have features that don't fit on a single line, this icon with 3 dots appear, and it includes everything that overflows. So yeah, this one is very important because obviously when you have 2 extra features, this is fine because it's going to be just 2 lines. But if you have too many features, that's not going to look very pretty and user friendly because it's going to be just a huge amount of lines with different features. So we don't really want that. Especially if you are building it for someone, for example, your clients or non-technical people, you want to make it user friendly. So keeping that wrapped option for the toolbar, I think, is very important and very pretty. It just cleans everything out. Okay, so and the last one, basically very final step. First of all, the process of obtaining the license. And for those who were here yesterday, this is not needed. I mean, you have to log in if you're logged out at this point to kind of, to help CKEditor's builder propagate your license key to your starter. And if you were not here, you should sign up for a trial to get a proper license key because we have some premium features, as you can see here. I hope it's visible. If it's small font, please let me know. I can enlarge it a little bit. That should be good. That should be visible enough. Okay, so as you can see, we have two premium features, so you need a license key. However, don't freak out. It doesn't mean that, like, even simple setups require you to pay. Basically, CKEditor offers you a lot of free features, so you're always able to build something uh, without need to pay us money, like, because like it's like we try to make it very inclusive, the product itself and ecosystem. However, yeah, like a lot of features that are more enterprisey, more like like suitable for companies or actual products, those might be premium. So once you have the license key, I specifically was talking a lot just so you have time to kind of like go through the flow of obtaining the license, and I hope you're good. If not, I'm pretty sure you can get help in the chat, because that Pep, he's a legend. I mean, like, he will help you out for sure. But also, I don't want to put extra pressure on him. So please shout if you need my help, because I'm always happy to pause the flow of this event if you need help. It's all about you. It's not about like me or being on time. Let's actually make sure that everybody learns something and everybody has time to complete the task. So I hope everything's good. If not, please drop your questions in the chat, and I hope that Ryan, well, sorry, I'm confident that Ryan is taking care of that. But yeah, like, he will just show the question on the screen and I will address it. However, next we need to actually configure our output, the code we get. So basically, the setup, not from the user perspective, but from the technical perspective. And here we have like 3 steps. We have to select the technology. Next, we have to select the integration method, and I recommend you to use the cloud option. And next, you have 2 options to work with, because we have premium features. So you're not able to use tag blitz because it will just like throw your license key in public, which is not good. So we don't provide that option for premium features. Also, don't quote me on that, because that might be not the only reason, or I'm just making that up, but that sounds logical to me. However, there are 2 options. So you can actually go through the code snippets section and just like have a dedicated tutorial on how to do everything step by step, which might be fun for learning purposes, because we actually kind of provide enough information for you to understand, like, oh, this is for this is for that, and you can actually build it like with Lego, like like building blocks, putting them in the right order. So it's more like guided tutorial, not just like copy paste and here you go. However, if you want to save time, you can just download the project, which will download the zip archive, and then you can find a folder with the actual project with the actual code, and you should be good. So I recommend you to download the project and get started. And as soon as you download it, I already have it because I don't want to make live streaming gods angry. So I prepare beforehand, because on a live stream, sometimes things go wrong and I don't want to spoil that. So this is the stuff that you should have by the moments of downloading the project. So like as soon as you download, this is the stuff that you will have, except for this, these 2, and also except for this one. Except for these 3 features, these 2 and this one. So these 3 we will add manually, because these are extra features that we, for example, forgot to include during the feature selection step. And we just realized, like, oh, that's actually really cool and I need that. So I would like to just showcase that you're not specifically limited to feature selection during the builder usage stage. So if you want to customize your editor later on while actually working with code already, you can still do that. So it's like you're not limited to customizing your setup at the first step. So it's like you can always do that at a later stage. So we will include these 3 just to show like the customization and how you can bend this setup to your needs, basically. Okay, so I will just change this screen. I will stop sharing my browser and I will move to the code editor. And while I do that, please drop questions if something is unclear or confusing, and I will make sure I will help you out. Okay, so far no questions, so I'm hoping that we're good. I love the classic editor. Me too, buddy. It's great. It's just like it's as simple as it should be, because like sometimes like for my specific purposes, the stuff that I build, I don't like overcrowded editors because like it's sometimes a little bit too much and it's confusing. And I'm also a big fan of minimalism, so it's simple and just what is needed. Uh, Okay, another question. Are you using Vanilla.js or Angular on this setup? I use Angular because we used Vanilla.js yesterday and I want to show like different option today. If you are not familiar with Angular, worry not. I will make a quick introduction and I will just explain like the core things you should be aware of. So it will be enough for you to understand it on a high level, and later on you can, proceed with more confidence later on when you will explore documentation or some courses, or if you want to learn Angular. Also, yeah, I will also share an article for you folks if you want to find out about some extra use cases, if you want to find out like what I can actually build, because I created this article a while ago, actually. Well, not that long ago, but still some time. Let me find it and I will share it with you. And so far, we don't have any extra questions as I see, which is good. It means that everything's clear. Here you go. This is the link. I will share it with Ryan. Boom, done. And it should be in the chat in a minute or so. Perfect. Awesome. Thank you so much. Yeah. So this is an article I created some time ago, and you can go read it to find out how to actually, you can actually use like more real life example, more like, like dedicated use case, like, like setup that I tailored specifically for invoices, creating invoices, like when you have like client, if you're working remotely and you need just a set of features, you need just a setup to kind of, like make invoices for your clients. So that could be just fun for you to explore, like, oh, this is the use case. However, let's not get too distracted from the actual current event. Is Angular only for web dev? That is correct. Angular is a front-end framework. So it's actually like, frameworks are already a de facto standard for, web applications. Vanilla.js is kind of, if you want to build something effective and something that performs well, it will take you a lot more effort for if you want to use Vanilla.js, because like you will have to optimize everything by hands. When with the frameworks, you get access to a bunch of tools that are already kind of, like created by large, teams. For example, Angular is supported by Google. So like it's like not rookies, let's say that way. So people know what they're doing. And yeah, you get access to powerful tools. You get like Shadow DOM, Virtual DOM, and you just understand like, yeah, it's going to be too much if I want to create it from the draft. Is it doable? 100% yes. But is it a reasonable time investment and reinventing the wheel? Probably not, because you will spend a lot of time that somebody already invested into that. And if you want something that works and performs well, just reuse somebody's work. That's why Angular is open source and you can use it freely for any project you want to build. The next question is, if we did not make any project on Vanilla.js and Angular, is it okay? It is. I mean, obviously, like if you're more familiar with web dev and Angular, that will help, but worry not. If you completed the builder, the whole like 4 steps, you will have the exact same code as I have at the moment on the screen. So you should be fine. However, yeah, like obviously familiarity If you're more experienced, the more simple it's going to be for you. But that's why I'm here, because like my role here is to support you if you're not. So don't worry about that. But yeah, the main goal of yours at the moment is to get to the point when you have the starter open in your VS Code web storm or whatever else, so like your editor of choice, and have it there. And also, once you have it there, what you should do is to open the terminal and type npm I to install the dependencies, because we have a bunch of dependencies which you can verify in the package.json file. So you can see like dev dependencies that are required for this project to function. The majority of these dependencies are Angular, like under the hood stuff. Yeah, so it's Angular like utilities. I don't know like how to group that with just one word, like just tool set, like like just Angular's packages, let's say it that way, and some extra stuff that is needed for our starter to function, basically TypeScript, CKEditor stuff, and some extra stuff as well. So if you type npm I, it will install all of the packages. In my case, I just updated this because like I already have like node modules and everything is already pre-installed for me. But if you don't have it, I press npm I, it will be good. If you see the error that like npm does not, I don't remember how the error called, like npm does not exist, command does not exist, something like that. So if you have that, you should download Node.js, and then you will get access to npm. You will be able to install npm and use it as your package manager of choice. However, we can continue. So once you install all of the packages, you can basically type npm start, and it will start a local server for you. You will see here, and I hope it's visible. It should be. So like in the local, like you can see the port, local host, and then the port number. This is where your editor is, running locally. Oh, perfect. Thank you so much. This is exactly the link. If you want to, if you don't have Node.js on your machine, like that will help you. This is a really fast tutorial. Should be really fast. It shouldn't take you a long time to do that. So, but it's basically essential. It's like prerequisite. Like without that, you won't be able to start a project locally, because you need to build it. You need to build an environment, like build a local environment for that. However, I'm assuming that you have that, because we are a little bit limited on time, and I want to cover a lot more. So let's actually go through some stuff that is related to Angular. So in Angular, we have a bunch of files, and we should write code in a specific manner. So first of all, we have this like main.ts, and also it's important to mention that this that Angular uses TypeScript. So it's a TypeScript framework, which is really good because it's a lot more bulletproof than you think. It's not, you will get less random mistakes, and obviously it helps you to debug things a lot faster and easier. So if you're not familiar with TypeScript and you're unsure if you need it, trust me, this is a knowledge that you will need at some point of your life, and you will not regret learning it. So the sooner you will jump on the TypeScript train, the sooner you will be happy, just because it's good. It's really help you to debug things. It helps you to write cleaner code and understand the engineering mindset better. So this is just the stuff that you will get all the time. It's gonna look kind of all the same. So don't overthink it. I will not go too deep into Angular, basic stuff. I will just explain how to create components and how to write new stuff, for example, like include in CKEditor component. But yeah, just know that it's how you write stuff usually in the Angular ecosystem. So this is for the routing. Basically, if you need different routes, this is the config file. This is, again, like some standard Angular stuff. But now I would like to show you the actual component and how you write those, because there are certain things that you should do in a specific way in Angular. So first of all, in Angular, we split things into different sections. So we don't have everything, like if you have ever seen React, we have everything in one file. You have like some kind of functions, like some like on change on click stuff, like if you want to change behavior depending on some kind of user actions. And then you have like a render method with some kind of HTML looking JSX markup that basically is responsible for the rendering, for like the visual aspect of it, which can be a little bit ugly because it's everything in one place. So if you have a lot of code, eventually you will have like all kind of functions, huge markup, and it's just giant file, and it's so confusing to orient. So eventually you have to move functions outside. So you will have to refactor it at some point. At least that's how I did it, because like it's sometimes getting too confusing and too annoying to orient in. So you have to improve the code base. However, in Angular you get this thing, and it's really pretty because it already kind of kind of tells you how to structure everything and what's the best practice in terms of structuring the code, basically, like just like from the architectural perspective. So what is important here, what I like to point out, first of all, it's imports, and here you can see we already have the CKEditor module, which is very important for CKEditor to function. So like you specify the imports, you specify the template URL. This is basically where the HTML, well, I mean, like in Angular, is from Angular perspective, it's actually HTML. From React, it's JSX, so it's like HTML looking stuff. However, yeah, like we have a dedicated template file, which is here. So you can see it's just like a piece of HTML and dedicated file. So you don't you don't make a mess in one file. You create separated file for each dedicated function, each dedicated purpose. So this is the HTML. And next we have the same approach for styles. So you have the dedicated file for styles, and you just have like this file as functional, like JavaScript file. So basically it's like it looks in the same fashion as like vanilla JavaScript project. You have like dedicated HTML file, dedicated JavaScript file for some kind of functionality, and for styling you have a CSS file. So from the logic perspective, it's kind of the same, the mindset itself, I mean. So and this is the stuff you should do for each component every single time. And this helps you to make clean, more organized, well-structured code. So it's always good. And eventually, yeah, this is the best thing about Angular for me personally. It's such a minor thing, but also very important. And just, like it's just clean, like it's well thought architecture, and I love it. So now let's actually talk about the CKEditor part itself. Also, if you have any questions, let me know. His code is super good. I appreciate that, but it's Builder's code. I didn't write it. Okay. And yeah, this is actually, like, I joked about that, like that I didn't write it, but this is exactly the point of having a builder, because if you're using some new tool, you don't know the best practices yet. You have to actually kind of like make a couple of mistakes to understand, like, oh, that's how I should write that. So this is exactly why builder exists, because like it kind of guides you to the point when you know best practices, and it's like more natural for you. So we already kind of recommend like do it in this way. So it's a lot more straightforward for you and really helpful to you. We know that you're using product the right way. So yeah, this is again one more benefit of having builder within your tool set when you're working with CKEditor. Next question is, does that mean CK provides foundation website code? Kind of. Well, I mean, not full website. It provides the code that is relevant for the framework you want to use and CKEditor specifically. So you obviously want to build on top of that. So it's very basic, very foundational, but yes, like it provides foundation, but it's like it's not like starter template which you can just deploy next minute and it's like complete app. So most likely, if you want to build something, CKEditor will be a part of some kind of functionality. So yeah, you will build on top of that. But from the CKEditor's perspective specifically, yes, it's the foundation website code. That's absolutely correct. Okay, like a starter code to be added to our website. Exactly. Yes, yes. This is actually correct, and this is where the second option, if you remember, the fourth step of the builder, when we had the copy snippets option, that might be very useful for you if you already have some kind of project, you already have some kind of like functionality, and it can be very painful to port it and migrate it to a new project. So you can just include code snippets in your existing project, and it will just simplify life for you so much, because you will not have to rewrite everything from the draft or just migrate the existing code by copying a lot of snippets and figure out why the hell it doesn't work. So yeah, it's just like it simplifies your life. So yeah, this is correct. However, let's continue to the CKEditor stuff, and we will just cover some things. I will also open the documentation for me, because I will just share with you folks some relevant resources. Give me a sec. I will have it here. Okay, first of all, I would love to also share the documentation at some point for the Angular and CKEditor setup, our documentation, because we write a lot of things that can help you to understand like why you use specific things and why it just exists in the first place. However, let's focus on important stuff. First of all, we specify the license key and that stuff. We don't specify it. It was specified by Builder itself. You have it. I have the, empty lines. That's from the security point of view, because I don't want to expose my license key, but yours should have the actual values, the actual license key and the token URL. So the next stuff is cloud config that is relevant for the CKEditor. And here we specify the version. And again, like everything that I say, like we specify that is pre-written by Builder. So don't stress about that. Just know that this exists, and just you will see how it works. Like you don't have to write it manually. Next, you have the CK box, which is relevant for the image, for images specifically, and it's going to be already predefined in the needed version. And also premium true. This is something I added later on, because as I mentioned, we will add some extra features. However, yeah, it should probably, if I remember correctly, yes, for classic editor, it should be already premium true. I might be wrong, but it should be there. However, if you plan to use premium features, this is the line that you need to have in the cloud config. So next, we use the, in the Angular, there are certain life cycles. Like every application has life cycles, different stages of behavior of the application. It's like this sequence of steps that happen between component and app creation and the destruction, if I remember correctly. The definition, I might be wrong. Let me actually open the documentation of Angular, so I will share you the docs for every single life cycle step that exists. Here you go. I shared it with Brian, and it should be there. Here we go. Okay, this is the link. So yes, I was actually very close to the official statement of the documentation. Interesting. The components lifecycle is a very important thing here, because we want to provide config at a certain stage. We have to provide CKEditor stuff for the application, so it's it's loaded and everything is provided on time. This is why we use the ng and Angular ng on init hook to kind of pass the CKEditor cloud config, the config itself. And we use a very specific hook, ng on init. So once the application is in it, and once the component is initialized, we want to have the config, because it will provide all of the necessary plugins, all of the necessary things for editor to function, because the next step, as soon as we provided the configuration, the cloud configuration of CKEditor, you can see that we start to actually import the plugins. And if you were here yesterday, you remember that we did almost the same stuff with vanilla JavaScript. We created a constant. Sorry, we didn't. Builder did, but we had a constant with plugins imported in a similar fashion. So, and this is exactly the same. And this is where the cloud, the actual, like the config, actually makes it work. So this is a very important thing. So this is why we init it on this is why we provide it on the initialization stage, and we have all of the necessary dependencies in place on time. So the next step is to actually specify the list of plugins that we want to use. And you can see that I also included a couple of extra stuff. So this is exactly the stuff that I mentioned. That we will include a couple of extra plugins, features that are cool, but we forgot to include those at the initial step. So here you go. You can actually do it this way. It will depend from which package you imported, either CKEditor or CKEditor Premium Features, if it's free or not. And the reasonable question here is to how to find out if the feature is premium or not. And this is a good question, and I have a very simple answer. Here's the link to the documentation of CKEditor. Once again, I probably shared it already, but just to be sure. Yeah, here you go. This is the link to the docs. And every single feature that is marked with a star icon, it's premium. So if you go to the documentation and you see some cool feature and you realize like, ooh, I want that, you basically need to check if the star icon next to the feature is present. If it is, you import it from the CKEditor Premium Features. If it's not there, then you import it from the regular package. And that's the only difference. This is the only indicator you should think of. So yeah, like you just go through all of the features and start to actually just import it as you need. You don't have to have like certain knowledge for the installation. And usually each guide for each feature is pretty extensive. So you should be able to configure everything without any specific knowledge on CKEditor. So like you don't have to be like a super pro person on CKEditor. So you should be good. However, we can continue and see what else we have in place. So this is the next part. And here we have the toolbar with items array. So the toolbar itself, it's an object, and then items is an array of strings with like actual names of features and straight line separators. And be aware of if we import plugins from the capital letter in the toolbar array, we write it in the like camel case, like the first letter is not, I forgot how it's called in English, but it's not the big one. I'm not native speaker, so sometimes I forget important words. So not the capital. I found it out. Okay, so you started from this small letter. So this is the very important difference. So like you can just accidentally copy the name of the plugin, and you might just be confused why it doesn't work, because it's it should be written in this specific style. So be aware of that. If you added some item to the items array and you don't see it in your actual application, that might be the case that you are writing it incorrectly and writing it from the capital letter. So just double check that, because like that's the mistake at least I do all the time. So might be the same for you. Okay, this is the line that helps us to enable the, if you remember, I told you about the collapsing feature. When you have too many elements, features, and buttons in general in the toolbar, and it starts overflowing, it has like 3 dots in your toolbar, and it collapses all of the stuff that overflows. So with that Boolean variable, we actually affect this behavior. So if you change it, you will notice that it will turn like in a couple of lines, not just single line with the 3 dots icon at the end of it. Next is just re-import of the plugins. This is basically the place where we first create the constant variable with the list of plugins, and next we tell the CKEditor like, hey, this is the list, please use that. Just, like, and we have to re-import all of the plugins here just to have everything in place and everything to functions. So basically you can think of that like this is for the user. This is like more like UI perspective of implementing a feature, just to have it in the toolbar. And this is for the functionality. So this is the face, this is the brain kind of thing. So different aspects, but like related to one problem-ish statement. I don't know how to call it properly, but just related to features. So in order to implement a feature, you have to have the re-import of the plugin and the line in the toolbar. However, some features sometimes don't require that. So it's I can give you a good example of such feature, and this is slash command. So if you implement a feature that, like as soon as you type slash, it will give you some kind of functions. You've probably seen that feature in other software. And this feature doesn't require you to add item to the toolbar array. So you basically import it from here. It's a premium feature, if I remember correctly. Let me actually double check that. Yes, it's a premium feature. So you just import it here, like slash command. You copy that and you just add it here. That's all is needed. So you don't have to actually have something in the items array of the toolbar, because this is type of feature that requires you to type something like manually, so there is no button in the toolbar. So really just like look in the docs just to find out how to implement certain things, because it depends on the feature. And if you're curious about the slash command, I will just share the link in the chat once again for this specific documentation, the documentation of this specific feature. Because you can also customize it a lot, but we will not talk about that for now. But yeah, if you want to explore it, go ahead. Okay, so next we have the customizations and configurations for each plugin specifically. So before that, we were talking about the editor on like high level, like just we basically explored like what is needed for editor to function. Now we explore the stuff that is relevant for features. I will actually close the terminal to have a little bit more space and do it like this, so we're less distracted with extra stuff. And now I will just like give you a bit of explanation of like how customizations of each plugins work. Okay. I would love to first introduce you to templates. Templates are super useful, and this is one of the features. If you remember, I showed you two features at the top. These two. I will remove slash commands for now because this is not important for our demo, so I don't want to, overclutter the visuals. So we added this stuff. These plugins, for example, we thought of too late after the builder usage phase. So you went to the docs, you saw some kind of demo, and you was like, "Ooh, that's cool," but I didn't select that during the builder initialization stage. So you add these plugins in this style from the premium features package by using cloud.ckeditor premium features. Then you include stuff in the items array like this. And you see that I also added a straight line separator. And each plugin has its own definitions. So go to the documentation for each one to find out how you should write the lines for the items array of the toolbar for each plugin, because it depends. So the docs is your friend here, but yeah, like for merge fields, it's worked like this. And next, we just added to, yeah, here we go. So merge fields here, and I will also remove it from here, and templates here. So we re-exported that stuff. We included stuff in the items array. So, and everything should be functioning from the global setup perspective. Also, keep in mind that sometimes features require some kind of extra features. For example, mention is a feature that is needed because like it is using it under the hood. So you can also you should also include mention as a plugin, because like it's something like a utility, and it should be like this. It should be written like this. I will also share the documentation about this as well. Let me do just that. I will find it. While I do that, let me know if you have any questions, because I kind of got too focused on the flow and I completely forgot to control the chat. So if you folks have any questions, I apologize. Let me know. And also, here's the documentation. I shared it with Ryan. Here we go. Yeah, this is the documentation of merge fields. So you can understand, like, first of all, what that is, because from the name, it might be too confusing, but don't worry, I will show it later. I will show it a little bit later how you can actually use it. And how you can actually configure that. So merge fields require mentions under the hood. This is how it works in CKEditor. Just include it and don't overthink it. You don't have to understand it. You don't have to know that. Just add one extra plugin. That's it. Okay, so let's actually now focus on like how you can customize these plugins specifically. So we talked about mentions as something that is a utility plugin. We don't have to configure it too much. We just have to kind of like, you can actually remove that code, because like it's you don't need extra customization and configuration. But yeah, like you can do a lot of things, and you can have the documentation of mentions to see like how you can actually configure that, because this feature is useful for many use cases, but not this particular one. But this is not something I will talk about right now. So first, let's talk about the templates. This is how you add templates. So templates are really useful if you create like similar documents multiple times, and it's just annoying to write the same stuff. You just copy paste it and you have it saved in some kind of, like note or whatever. So you have like the same structure all the time under, like close to your hand when you need it. So templates are literally for that. Like if you have a reusable content structures, you can create templates out of it and reuse it all the time when you need it. So for templates, you create a definitions array. This is how it's called. And then you create a dedicated object for each template. Each template should have a title, data, which represents the HTML basically structure of the template, and description that I will show later in the editor itself. So the title, just like some kind of short title, just to understand like how to differentiate those, because like once you have a lot of templates, it might be confusing, like because you might forget like why it exists and what it is in general. So like naming things the right way is a good practice. Yeah, just to mention, like you can make as many templates as you want. There is no like limit. There is no like whatever is needed to you, because like you can see this template is super simple. I created like from the description perspective, you can understand that this is like article footer with author name and published date. That's it. It's just very tiny template, but it saves you time not to write these 3 lines all the time. So it's a good one. So yeah. And in data, you basically create an HTML structure. And here you can see that it's author name, like where the author works, and then the published date. And you can see that the published date is actually like some kind of, like fancy thing, like, like some kind of dynamic code that is actually uses some variable, which is the published date. And this is where the merge fields come handy. So in merge fields, you can see that we have definitions as well as with templates. We create the same type of objects, but with different properties. Each merge field should have an ID, label, and default value. So in my case, I created like a ID published date, label publishing date, and the default value of, actually, let me change that because it's 11th. Boom. Now it's more good. better. I don't know. Probably not. Yeah, the default value, this is an optional one, but you might have it. So like the default value is sometimes good just to kind of have like the actual visual like of how this string can possibly look. And then, yeah, once you have the ID labeled and default value, or you don't have it because you don't know the default value, so you don't have to specify that. But if you have the ID, you can use this ID in templates by writing two curly brackets. I don't know how they call it in English, to be honest. Probably curly brackets. And inside these curly brackets, you can actually write the ID of your merge fields. And this way you can actually replace some kind of static data with more dynamic thing, which I will show you in a minute. And it's usually used for you to understand what needs to be changed, what needs to be, like modified from template to something like more customizable that requires customization. And this is basically it. So as you can see with templates, you create some HTML structure, and here you create like reusable specific items for specific like lines or specific like client names or like addresses and stuff like that. And yeah, then you basically are ready to use it. You're ready to use the plugin. Now, allow me to stop sharing the screen so I can change it to a different one. Give me a sec while I do that. Until then, if you have any questions, let me know. Now I will show you the actual browser so you can see the merge fields and the merge fields and templates in action. Okay. I should be there. Sorry for that. Okay, you should be able to see the screen, should be good. So, as you remember, I told that we first of all created the templates. So here's the template icon. And here you can see our article footer, the template that we saw in the code. And once we click it, it creates this template. So basically at the top, you have some kind of article, and at the bottom, it will have the name, the place of work, and finally our date. And you can see this date has like this more like interactable border, and you have the actual ID of your merge field that was defined by you in the template. And this is how it looks. This is how it looks, the template itself, and this is how it looks from the merge fields perspective. So these reusable structures, you can actually start now thinking that those can be bigger. You can create some kind of to-do list, checklist, some kind of, like basic structure of the outline of some article, like some kind of structures. And for the majority of those, you can think of merge fields for each use case. And if you remember, I also included the default value. So the default value in our case, it's 11th of January. So once I press the default value, it will change it with the actual value. So you will see how it can possibly look with the actual date, not some kind of ID of the merge field. So this is why defining the default values might be handy because you can actually see how it looks like with more realistic data. So it's more like for visual people who requires some visual feedback, not some kind of ID. So this is the example of how to use extra plugins, how to include those, and how to configure those if you didn't include those in the builder stage. But yeah, the majority of plugins, you saw that we had those during the builder usage phase when we included the majority of plugins. And as you can see, we have all kinds of stuff to create fancy applications and fancy like pieces of content. Like you can write a lot of things, and this tool set allows you to actually write good articles because like we have merge fields, we have templates, we have code blocks, so you can write technical content, you can write articles for engineers, or just some kind of journal, personal journal. So like the the use cases are pretty much unlimited. So yeah, this is mostly it. Allow me to actually check one more thing. So yeah, you can write a lot of stuff. And I think that's mostly it, because we're already 1 hour live. So I'm ready for your questions, I think. Do you have any? Let me actually open the chat. Is it possible to use LaTeX? Actually, this is a fantastic question, because yesterday DatPep already asked about LaTeX, and I didn't know if we're good with that. And yes, like if you think about math formulas and just like LaTeX, using like LaTeX for like like some kind of math stuff, you can do that. Let me actually share if that what you if that's the use case, what you think of. Like you can do that. Should be there. Did I share the correct one? Give me a sec. Should be good. Yeah, I shared it with Ryan. Hopefully he will notice that soon, and you will see the link to the documentation where I can find out more about that. Here you go. Yeah, this is the link. You can go there and just read about like the math formulas and how to use like the specific stuff if you want to. So yeah, I'm really happy that I answered that question, because I felt really bad because I didn't answer that yesterday, and it felt like a very important question since it already was brought 2 times. So really appreciate you asking that. Do we have any more questions? It looks like we don't. Yeah, I think we'll give a couple of more minutes for folks to ask their questions. But in general, this is mostly it from my side, I guess. So I really, really, really appreciate you hanging out with me. That was really awesome. I really, really loved the last 2 days, because like I was hanging out with you folks, and it was really enjoyable. And it was, like it's the first time I'm in the MLH stage. So that was fun. Oh, we actually have one more question. Not sure if you already answered this. How do you add it to the existing Angular project, since it comes out a separate project from Builder? In Builder, so yes, I did address that, but don't worry. Like there are no bad or irrelevant questions. Actually, give me a second. I will just show you in a more practical way. Here you go. So like this is the builder, and this is the last step when you already kind of selected so you selected the feature, you selected presets, you did this and that, and you're at the installation step, and you selected the type of framework, basically Angular, Cloud, and you don't select the download option version, you select the copy code snippets. This way you get the actual guidance for the CKEditor exclusively. So like you can basically, like if you already have an Angular project, you can use it there. Like you just add CK to existing Angular project with this set of with this guidance. Like you don't have to just you don't necessarily have to download project every single time from the builder. Like this is a good option and good alternative if you already have a setup and you have the actual project in your on your machine, and you just need to add the CKEditor. And Builder already provides you with all of the code snippets that are needed for CKEditor to function. So this is how it works, and I hope that answers your question. Do we have any more questions? Okay, it looks like the chat is good. Yep, you're welcome. Yeah, I'm really glad that the question that my answer helped you. So yeah, I really appreciate that. Overall, we can say CKEditor can be used for docs, edits, collabs, etc. Sure. Yeah. Yeah, you can say that. Like I mean, not only like it's like, but from like if you think about the most common use cases, yes. Like documentation, obviously, yeah, writing experience, editing, like, and collabs, basically, because we have like a full suite of tools and features for the real-time collaboration. Yes, you are able to say that these are the most common use cases. But I also shared in the chat, like at the beginning, like closer to the beginning of the event, the article that is about invoice generator. That is potentially another use case. I'm not sure, like it was my use case. I'm not sure how many people actually, use together for that sort of stuff, but you can think of that like more specific. But again, it's about editing, and it's about, like, documenting and writing experience. So yes, you're right. Does it support third parties add-ons and plugins? It depends. Basically, you can write your own plugins, you can create custom plugins, and yes, you can do that. Like third party, like it depends on what exactly you want to include. Like it will not conflict with your other tools that are included in the Angular project. So if you have any other things that you need to write stuff, it will not conflict with CKEditor. But if you're talking about something to include, like as a feature in the CKEditor specifically, you can create custom plugins. If you're talking about some, I don't know, CSS customizations, you can actually customize the editor's look, and we have articles about that. Let me actually just give you links to the docs. So you can find out how to do that. Let me find it. While I'm looking for that, you folks have some extra time to ask more questions. Here you go. So this is the link if you want to customize it visually. If you're talking about, like, styling customization of the editor. If you talk about custom plugin, give me a sec. Custom plugin. So you can start from here, actually. This could be a good one for you to find out how to create custom plugins and how to actually, extend your setup from the buy your custom stuff. If we didn't, like if we didn't include the feature that you need, so you're able to create something custom, and you can actually go wild with it. You can inject, actual components, and like have some kind of, like interactivity and stuff like that. So you can do a lot of stuff with it. So it's not like limited. It's not trivial. You can do really useful and really awesome things with it. So yes, you can actually create custom components. You are not limited from using third-party libraries in your projects. And you're able to style it if you need to customize it visually. So I hope that answers your question. It looks like, yeah. I don't see any more questions. You're welcome. You're very welcome. And thank you for being here. Perfect. I think we have it.
All right, all right, all right. Well, thank you so much, Vadim, for the presentation and the walkthrough of how to use CKEditor with Angular. I enjoyed it thoroughly. And thank you, everyone else, for joining us here on the stream. I hope everyone got a lot out of this session. It was a lot of fun. I'm not going to lie, I might use this for a project like today. I'm not even lying
Really?
here.
Okay.
That invoice thing, I might actually use that for some of my projects, like that specific code
I
snippet.
mean, perfect. Yeah. I mean, this is why I do this. Like this is exactly why I created this one, and I'm really glad that it actually helps you.
Yeah, I was doing it on the side, trying to add it to a React project. So I'll see if I can finish that later today.
Okay. Well,
Thank you
yeah, I
so
believe
much.
the demo was actually in React, right? So it's Next.js or React. I don't really remember the code snippets. It should be actually like copy pastable, like easily for you for the React project. So yeah, you should be able to do that like without any stress.
Yeah, thank you so much. We have a few more in chat. Some people are saying thank you so much. I would also like to echo that. And I can paste a link to the recording that's going to be on YouTube in the Discord afterwards. So yeah, thank you so much for joining us, Vadim, and everyone else.
Thanks for having me.
And
Yeah, and also like
any
one thing that I would like to mention, like if something wasn't clear or you have questions later on, I already said hello in the Discord, so just feel free to message me, DM me, or just like shout in the server, like in the questions channel, and I will help you out if you figure out that you have questions later on, so you were not able to ask those live with us. So it's fine. I'll be there. I'm not leaving the server, so I'm always there and happy to answer and happy to help you out.
Awesome. Well, thank you so much. I think that is all, right?
Yes. Yeah. I think that's it. And yeah. Well, I was actually longer than an hour, so yeah, like I would like folks to give some opportunity to rest and chill.
Yeah. If y'all have any final questions, now is your time. Feel free to drop them in chat. If not, have fun exploring how to use CKEditor. I know I'm going to do that right after this stream.
Really glad to hear that.
But yeah, all right. Well, thank you all for coming out to Global Hack Week Beginners and joining Vadim and I for learning how to use CKEditor. That will be it for this stream. And yeah, have a good day, everyone. Thank you for joining us.
Have a good one, folks. See ya.
Bye.